Hi, everyone. I am Jermaine Lowry. I'm the director of AMFT Foundation's MFP program, which seeks to increase the number of culturally competent marriage and family therapists. I would like to welcome you to the first installment in a series of events that AAMFT and Margins to Center, Cultural Connections Among CMFTs, is having in honor of Black History Month through a new free series focusing on the Black family representation, identity, and diversity. With us today, we have Dr. Josiane Bonte Apollon. Born and raised in Paris, France, Dr. Josiane Bonte Apollon, or Dr. Josiane, is a relationship researcher and a 2015 fellow of AAMFT's MFT Foundation's MFP program. Dr. Josiane has had formal training in family therapy and holds a license in mental health counseling and certifications in structural equation modeling, clinical hypnosis, interactive coaching, strategic interventions, and play therapy. Dr. Josiane has a well-versed background that sets the stage for her approach as she earned her bachelor's in motion pictures and master's in mental health counseling, and subsequently her PhD in marriage and family therapy from Nova Southeastern University. At the start of her immersion in systems thinking, she was mentored by family strategic therapy pioneer Chloe Medines and trained in couples intensive by master relationship builder Heidi Scrufer. Dr. Josiane uses her family systems framework in national and international speaking engagements on local radios, TV stations, churches, schools, and universities to health and mental health professionals in various countries, including the US, China, Malaysia, Cambodia, and the Republic Democratic of Congo. While she maintains a private practice as a family therapist, Dr. Josiane started her clinical work advocating for Black youth in juvenile courts, schools, and hospitals through the MST program. She serves as a diverse ethnic, sexual, and economic population passionate for domestic and global mental health and racial equity. Please join me today in welcoming Dr. Josiane Bonte Apollon for the presentation today. If you have any questions, we please ask that you put them in the Q&A session and we will answer them towards the end of the presentation. Thanks so much and enjoy. Now I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Apollon.
Thank you so much, Jermaine, for such an amazing introduction. I am feeling very shy right now, just hearing everything you mentioned, and to know that it's a privilege and honor to be here with you. So let me just share my screen with you. Thank you so much for being here. And what a time. It's an extraordinary time of uncertainty, but we have the opportunity with the essential of playing for keeps, a compassionate love practice to change not only ourselves, but the world, okay? And the people that we serve. So thank you so much for having me. And today I would like to invite you into my world and the world of all my clients, Black children, couples, and families who had the pleasure and utmost privilege to serve while they were thriving with compassionate love in the wake of the African Holocaust, mass trauma effects from American slavery, and the systemic racism that we've seen lately. So it's been there for centuries, and that's why I felt that what's important right now in recent trauma-informed guidelines is that the interventions generally ignore this broader cultural context. And hopefully I can give you a little glimpse on how to connect you as mental health professionals and caregivers to understand better Blacks and how to link their success stories to the American history and emphasize the culture within which Black relationships and families develop and prevail. Okay, so why? Because of so many things that have been happening. Racial, sexual acts and cycles of mass violence against the Black population are crimes against humanity and are perpetuating mass rape across generations and cultures. So who are we now takes another dimension. It's nothing so simple anymore, but we have the duty as responsible human beings to expand our awareness beyond the dominant norms and discourse, right, of the dominant group, to be present and open to be changed, and to not only to change the people that we serve. So what I really believe is without context, there is no culture. And without culture, there are no people and very small connection, deep level connection at the meta level, meta communication that is between us. That's where our relationship resides. So in order to do that, we need to know that if we apply a Western view on African-American population clients, how does it work? It doesn't. Did you notice? It just doesn't. We need to use an African philosophy of life to see not only African-Americans, but humans, and we'll do a better job by understanding our essence. What is our essence? And there's no coincidences that right now the essential workers are so important because we mistreated them. So that's why the universe is sending us back some upgrade and update. That the essence of human nature is our spirit. It's our energy, or the ka in Swahili. This dynamic vital force, the ka, facilitates the communication between humans, nature, and God, or a higher force, the universe, whatever you want to call it, itself. And it's completely independent. It has nothing to do with the chaos or the Big Bang that has happened eons of years ago, centuries, a million years ago. But it's coming from unity. If we have to understand something today, it will be that, to understand how we are, not just because we think so therefore we are. No, it's because I am, because we are, and that relational aspect is so vital. And now we need to see that a lot of Westerners, especially Teilhard de Chardin, describe it this way, that we are not human beings having a divine experience. We are actually divine beings having a human experience. As such, I would like to invite you to wherever you are to stand up, please. And we're going to dance on this amazing divine relational song that's using sacred music, sacred words, in order to magnetize our body and our mind and spirit in one. Okay, so let me see.
God is love. God is wise.
Stand up.
God is kind.
And open your heart.
I am the child of the light, and I walk in the light.
So this music is from Dr. Levry.
Lovable, happy,
and he's teaching us
peaceful and powerful divine
where to think, where to direct our thoughts.
perfect organized.
So let's attract.
Governed by a perfect God.
Let's attract
Absolute good.
success,
I am a radiant
health,
of divine love
wealth,
and
abundance. Come on, guys. Be ready? Sorry. Wait, I don't know what happened, but okay.
God is love. God is what?
Design come now. Design deep now. Golden sunrise. So this, stay standing, please stay standing. And we're going to move to the appreciative heart meditation. That is the first thing to move. And I invite you to either stay standing or sit. And I invite you to reflect on the time in the past when you personally felt truly loved. And love who you truly are, beyond the momentary circumstances, beyond what was expected of you. Pick a time that still holds particular importance to you. What was the relationship context? And what were the circumstances? So slow down to your heart and see it filled with unconditional light and love, gratitude, appreciation, and compassionate love for what it is. This meditation is for the many gifts you received throughout your life, so that by appreciating what you already have and the relationship with yourself, others, and the world, we stay open to your essence and receive even all that you never thought, imagined, or believed possible. As you listen to my words, just take a couple of deep breaths. And let go all the information that I just shared with you. Just give yourself permission to take a moment to connect to your heart, your inner wisdom. And smile to your vital organs, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, your kidneys. Also started by your amazing breath, divine spirit that gives you life in your mission on earth, allowing each word to sit deeply as you remember all these things that you are grateful for. Dear universe, thank you for giving us our body, our hands, our feet, and our heart. Thank you for all the people who are in our lives. And thank you for giving us the ability to love, care for, and contribute to others. Thank you for allowing us to grow and evolve, to shed the old and make room for the new. Thank you for our ability to seek new opportunities and explore new paths. Thank you for giving us the capacity to think for ourselves and to make wise choices. Today, we give thanks for our right to choose new perspectives, new beliefs, We give thanks for accepting diversity and universal gifts to us, all free and all accessible and independent. Thank you for waking us up on our truly blessed life. Thanks to all the ones, our ancestors, who came before us, enduring suffering and joy, and remaining connected to us beyond space and time. May the love that fills their heart and our hearts right now go out and enter into the hearts of all the people who are sick, the ones that we know and the ones that we don't. And we do all things to seek a higher consciousness in all things and stay present to harmony. So find an intention for our time together. And basically this meditation is the centering exercise that I use with every single of my clients, whether they're 3 years old, 5, 12, 20, 60, 80 years old. Why? Because we need to know that we're divine and we're still connected to our ancestors. How often do we honor and privilege our ancestors? We need to do that on a daily basis. Why? Because we have an African lineage, all of us, of super survivors. That's why we are here today on earth. We came for a purpose, but we need to know that we, oppressed, can become restorers of the humanity of both. This is a great humanistic and historical task of the oppressed, to liberate themselves and their oppressors as well. So we are going and we're taking in everyone because we're going up, we're not going down anymore, and not returning to something that we didn't want. And that's the problem was made, and we cannot solve it at the same level it was created, right? As Einstein says. So it's important to know what else can we do, because the individual paradigm is really pretty much in American society, it's the motto, it's what we go by, and it's really difficult to resist it. But we need to understand that we're not asking to just reject your individuality. No, no, no. It's about integration, and the self is maybe for some people its own substance. I believe an infinite substance that is connected with the divine at every single moment and surrounding me. But also in the individual paradigm, there is the bonded entity, right? And it's all going for what? It's driven for self-empowerment, self-development, and self-compassion. So let me tell you, all of those cells don't exist unless your brain is connected to another one and you receive oxytocin and love and endorphins and everything that you need in order to get this self-empowerment, get this self-development and self-compassion. So they're really misnomers. They're not self, they're just compassion, they're just development and empowerment. And that's why we need the relational paradigm, because we need to know how it's constructed through the negotiated experiences that we have with all of us. And by choosing a language of abundance and not a language of deficit, as it's been, especially in science, African-American couples, families, children have been portrayed as being deficient, right, and inferior. So that's the dominant narrative. We're getting away from it. We have to focus on others, and the descriptions and experience are very important, and the feelings to work towards a positive change. And it's not in a monological communication, one-way street, right? It's a dialogue. It's a dialogical communication with mutual respect for each other and in collaboration and honor of the other. And with leadership, It's about being decentralized. The family, the Black couple, and the Black children are empowered, and they are leaders of their own life and destiny. And it's our mutual responsibility to give them that back. And how do I do that? Well, I was doing my research for my PhD, and an amazing aha moment that was totally sent by the divine, sent me the Linking Human Systems by Judith Lando and colleagues. That's exactly what I was looking for to jumpstart and use and healing and recovery from mass trauma for African American families. And it's an ecological approach that really has multi-level of the human system, for the individual, the collective, and the nation. So it's really important to know how it works, because it's based on a strength-based linking people and their ancestral past. You know, that's how those pathways get hijacked by another story, but we have several and millions of stories that we need to be told and need to be heard in order for us to be empowered in the present moment and for a better future. And what do we do now, though? Well, we do compassionate love. How did it come up? Well, in 1999, Lynn Underwood, who is amazing, got all these people for a meeting at the MIT, and she got all these people, economists, spiritual leaders, and scientists, to say, what does the world need? And they were all, you know, some people say, well, I think they need compassion. No, they need love. No, they need that. They come up with this operational definition that is a compassionate love, which really is about altruistic love. It's unconditional love. It's divine love. That's my take. And it's also about a kind of love that centers on the good of the other. So the way that they Underwood described it, I love it, because it's really, you know, it's not in your head, it's right there. You feel it in your heart and your gut, right? So it's that particular type of love that centers on the good of the other, but it's a kind of love that feels so good to be on the receiving end of, but also, she didn't put it, the one who are giving that compassionate love are getting so much more in actions also. It was done after she wrote that, I think. The scientists found that. So it's good to know. But also, it's good in a lasting way. And one that sticks to the ribs and doesn't give you indigestion. I love that. I don't want to have indigestion. I am tired of my acid reflux, right? So we want to make sure we know that it's not romantic love, it's not companionate love. We want compassionate love. Right? And why? Because we are systemic thinkers. What does it mean? Well, it means a lot. It means that there's a principle of wholeness and a principle of interconnectedness that are glued together in order for us to see, just like that net, that we are so interconnected. When we lose one of us, all of us are losing something. And we need to understand that after what we've seen last year, right? And through centuries, I should say. So it's an antidote really for hatred. So how do I do that? I came up with this thing that while I was doing my research, that these 5 elements of appreciative inquiry go with compassionate love. So why? Because in the discovery phase, so the phase 1, we really getting into the conversation, and we seeing and accepting who the other one is with their quality, not what's wrong. We're seeing their strength and their success. And that is important to know. When I did that with resilient Black couples in my research, they were so amazed, just saying, oh yes, you're like that, and you look just like your grandfather and your great-grandfather. And it was so amazing just to be in that energy, that vibration, and you can feel that they were exchanging things that they hadn't thought to each other for a long time, or never at some instances. So it's really important to know that the discovery phase is the whole system is engaged in recognizing individuals' distinct strengths, success, and qualities to link them into a collective force of what works and generates enhanced performance and transformative, responsive to needs and challenges. Okay, and once we know that, we don't stop, we go on to the dream phase. And the dream phase is all about, you know, how do you identify basically the emerging themes together, and in order to have this vision, to create this vision of who we want to be, and don't let anybody from the dominant narrative or culture group to tell you who you are. You can write and define who you are by saying and having a vision. Basically, that's what Viktor Frankl said in The Man's Searching for Meaning, that the one who perished in the concentration camp were the one who did not have a vision, their own personal vision. It was lacking and they perished. The one who survived are the ones, just like the Bible also says, and in probably ancient traditions, that you need to have a vision. So that's why we need to give them a vision at the start, not at the end, at the start of therapy. So the design phase is also the one that spells out, you know, what's needed and how, and what people in the family or the couple need or want to accomplish the newly dreamed vision based on the positive core of the whole system. So everybody comes up with something, and then you bring everything together in order to have the whole. And that's what matters in therapy, and especially in couples that I'm seeing right now. So once we have that mapped, we need to be able to change from being in a fake vibration, like, oh, yeah, it's never going to change, oh, this is like that, and no. Forget that. You need to be in a destiny vibration, in a higher dimension, which is the one that everything is happening. It's not a physical plane, it's the astral dimension, right? So when you know that your destiny is in your hand and the universe is conspiring to give you what you want, it's because you did a good job. And it helps to sustain the positive forces in motion, in strengthening the whole system with hope for enhanced performance and positive change. So it is really important to see that we co-design. And then the continuation, the phase 5, is about, okay, a distinction of what we want more and what we want to reassess, and to say, okay, let's say, okay, again, let's put our minds together and do again that cycle of life. And it works. So what copywriter and winner who created the Appreciative inquiry said was that the single most important action a group can take is to liberate the human spirit and consciously construct a better future. Construct a better future is to make the positive core the common and explicit property of all. So this is really important to know, that if we don't have that, we don't empower every single person that comes to see us, then they go without that positive core that's in them. So we just need to for them to remember it. So my first case is the one of Isis. So she came with her mom, 20-year-old. She was in college, and she was assaulted sexually and racially in college. While she was sleeping, a roommate was having a party in a room, and she let in her room, in the room of the ISIS, a friend, and they assaulted her. Yes, and so that is traumatic in itself, just because as African Americans, we have a lot of trauma and multi-generational transmission of trauma and resilience, but it reappears a lot of times because it was also in her family. So knowing that, I needed to get a sense of safety first. And so the safety, stabilization, connection, and integration are what Judith Herman, specialist in trauma work and trauma therapy, encourage us to use. So I used it, but the safety, stabilization were there, but the connection was more difficult, because when you bring, as a family therapist, you want to bring in the family, and you can see that because we live in a patriarchal world, some of her brothers were like thinking, oh, maybe she really did it, because, you know, it's not. So the first thing I said was, it's not your fault. And that sense of knowing it's not your fault, and you're not alone, that this is happening. And yes, you know, after what we've seen in 2017, I think, about the movement of that awakened, that all of a sudden rape was there in the public eye. It's been there for centuries, right? But we just decided not to look at it. So now we know it's there, and it's there for a reason, because everything is energy. We are energy. And believe it or not, when I did my research, I went from one house to another, and they don't know that they have the same life. But it's energy. And so energy, if we don't really retarget our energy and redirect our energy, then we're going to, again, re-traumatize ourselves with the same things that some of our ancestors did. So it's a crime against humanity. And it's important for me to tell her that it's also an attack, not only a violation, but it's also an attack against a spirit. So every single dimension, when a woman is being sexually assaulted, are being hijacked by the assault itself. And it really takes time to be able to free and change and transmute the memory into new one in order to have a higher functioning. So the case number 2 is the case of Cool Cat. So Cool Cat was 6'2" tall young man, and with dealing with court system issues, not because he was a bad guy, but if you read what the probation officer wrote, it was terrible. He said, "Ooh, I'm scared. I wasn't sure if I was going to go to see him." But then I said, "Oh, I know better, because I have compassionate love in me, and I know it's going to be amazing." And yes, it was amazing, until his mom called me at 6:30 in the morning, and she says, "Okay, Cool Cat doesn't want to go to school. He has a knife in his hand. I'm going to call the cop." And I said, "Take a breath. You're not calling anyone. I'm coming." And if I didn't have the weeks before and months, even a relationship with her, that would not have happened, because she was so petrified. Her son is much taller than she was, and she was afraid to be murdered, literally. And when I asked her, what does he want? And she said, he just doesn't want to go to school. I said, it's okay. We're not going to school. What I did, at that time I was working with for the multisystemic therapy program, and we were working in partnership with the University of Miami psychiatric ward. So I called Dr. Bad and I said, "Listen, I'm driving right now Cool Cat and his mom, because he's having, you know, he's having a moment, and we need to make sure that your nurses don't grab him violently. Please, 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 please." And just being clear and getting everybody on the same page is so important, because they can really sabotage your work and the people you're working for. So you want to make sure that everything is fine. And when Cool Cat felt my energy, when I came and I said, "Okay, so what's going on, man?" And he's like, "I don't want to go to school," and he's moving the knife everywhere. And I say, "Okay, you're not going to school." And just that, because it worked. Why? He knew I was serious. He was not going to school. No, but I gave him a nurturing image. What does it mean? I gave him another vision of what he could be doing. You want to chill, you want to relax, I get you. Let me have the knife. And he gave me the knife. But you need to have no fear, and you need to see the person there in their humanity. If you don't, then that scares them, and then it's like, yeah, we are animals, and we can react in a very destructive way. So align with your I am presence, and the one of your clients is key. Your I am presence is what brings you, you open your heart and you let it shine and brightening the life of others. And when he felt that, he was able to be admitted for 2 days and get his medication with the right dosage, and then back and not go at all into a residential program. And I forgot to mention that Isis was able, after doing the treatment with me, she was able to write a book. She's writing a book right now about it. So about the experience. So the case number 3 now is it's about the Johnson. Oh my God, that case. So they had 5 little munchkin from 1 and up to 12, right? And all going to school and whatnot. But the parents had lost their positive core, the view of it. And so when I came in, and that was this case was for actually my my research. So I help them to rediscover. It's about rediscovering their core, the positive core of their couples before being parents. Because once you get to be parents, you're losing who you are. So it's very essential to really know that when a couple is struggling, whatever, we need to see them as individuals and their relationships. So the couple's qualities and when they were successful was important to link it back to their ancestors. And when I did that, they were so looking at them. We were really into the story. They were telling me how they met. And what happened was that a month prior, meeting each other in the street, mind you, and they were walking and they stopped, and he lifted up his head and she did the same. And they just knew they were meant for each other. So there's some pretty amazing stories out there. And when he was telling the story, and he was saying how he felt so inspired, and it was divine, that the fact that they met, it was not divine in the sense religious. It was divine, that the experience of life is divine. And that's what we need to understand, that we have a choice where we're looking at what's wrong or what we're looking at what works. And what works is us, is a choice. And when they did that, they got together. And after telling me, just by giving some affirmative questions and appreciative questions, they were able to, not even a week later, they come and say, oh, I got a job. So now they literally, their vision of dreams for the family and themselves went up just by directing with my question from a positive direction, and they remember who they were. They got enough power in them to recharge and really co-design together what they wanted. So that's very important. And then they were able to expand their unit, meaning getting more resources and greater access to what they really need in order to thrive now and not to survive on food stamps. So I wanted also to share in this presentation part of that. It's one thing to be in the therapy room and to do Zoom now, but it's also important to know that we live in a world of globalization and what it is to be compassionate love activists. So what it is very important. Right now, I'm showing you the advocacy level at its best with results. So we talk every week almost. There's a meeting and we're speaking with Congress people and their assistant, and we're telling them what we need, 20 billion, 7 billion for this, for that, and we're not going to settle down for anything less. And because there's some organizations that are like that, full of compassionate, loving people, that's how things are being done behind the scenes. And it's important for you to know, to reach out to any of these organizations. They're looking for you, they're expecting you, and they want you to know that they exist. So the next one is the Rotary. So the Rotary this morning, I started a meeting with them at 7:30. I was already talking with about the presentation I'm going to do next Wednesday for Wellness Foundation, a Wellness Week for the foundation of a friend of mine who has who's helping Haitian kids in Lavage. So I went there like a few years ago, and I was able to gather some friends who are physicians to go for Thanksgiving. Instead of eating our turkey, I said, forget it, we're not eating that turkey this year, we're going to help. And I took them with my family and their families, and I took them to Lavage with Ines, and it was at a different level. It was experiencing paradise, and with amazing children. And we have the photo, I'll show you the photo right now. But she's the president of my Rotary Club of Key Biscayne. And you need to know that the Rotary has 1.2 million members, 35,000 clubs, and worldwide, and tackling challenges to humanity. And after the 7:30, I had a 10:30 meeting with the district governors of Congo. Why? Because there's 85% of the agricultural land that are unused when there's number one, I think, in famine and starvation, and the death, the infant death is really very high. So we were able to get together with the district from the governor from Florida and the one from Congo, and with another partner that's an outside member, but she helps 25,000 women agriculture to change, to take their destiny in their hands, and to give them means to learn how to really do an amazing job at helping their own families and their collectivities. So the Rotary is about hunger, health, hunger, I mean healing hunger, right, in the world, health, water, bring water to the most vulnerable populations, youth, and families. And that's why I reach to them. So this is pictures of me being in Haiti while I took my friends during Thanksgiving. That was like 5 years ago, I think. And they're just so happy, and everybody was so sad. Look at the lower picture, thinking that, oh, they cannot, you know, they wanted us to be more involved, to stay with them. The other one, the other image on the right is me in Egypt in front of the Library of Alexandria. And it's just, people feel your energy, right? Do you feel my energy? I don't see, but I think you feel it. So basically, they feel your energy. What it is to be compassionate, loving, is you love life no matter what it brings to you. And so you're able to shift your gears and your direction, not to ignore that you're sad. No, you want to enjoy being sad, okay? Sad, cry, it's always temporary. And the other picture is me on in China, the wall in China, the wall of China, with young girls who I was just joking, because you have to be playful in order to do all of this and to understand life, right? So if you're too serious, you know that you keep this seriousness for certain things, and then you embrace your inner child all the time when you are with different people. And that brings, when you bring them together, that makes you whole. So the Rotary Grant is what I've been working on as of yesterday with the new, she's not even yet, she's not there yet, but the new president of the Rotary Club is, for the first time, it's a woman, Jennifer Jones, and I was on a Zoom call yesterday to actually help the Nicholas Children's Hospital of Miami to expand their telebehavioral program. So if any of you is interested, know that they're looking for mental health professionals in order to serve the communities in Miami and more, right? So we need to decrease the children's exposure to COVID-19. So that's why having Zoom is a blessing, and we need to understand we need the Zoom. So what's amazing also and kind of crazy is the fact that there's 11,800% increase in telehealth application registrations from providers like us. So it's important to know if you want clients, don't complain, reach out. There's different ways to reach out, and hospitals and everywhere, there's centers, a clinic, or anything, you can have clients. They're waiting for you to reach out to them. So it's important to bring the world-class service to families because they deserve it. And I would like to end this presentation with the love, peace, and light prayer from Dr. Levry, the one who sang the golden sunrise at the beginning. And this prayer is what we do in our practice. We do the practice, and we always know we're co-creating our reality. And in order to do that, we need to make sure we have all the elements with us. And that's how this you're going to see how it is. So I invite you to repeat every single sentence with me.
Love before me, love behind me, love at my left, love at my right, love above me, love below me, love in me, love in my surroundings, love to all, love to the universe. Peace before me, peace behind me, peace at my left, peace at my right, peace above me, peace below me, peace in me, peace in my surroundings, peace to all, peace to the universe. Light before me, light behind me, light at my left, light at my right, light above me, light below me, light in me, light in my surroundings, light to all, light to the universe.
Let me just show you here. So that's a prayer of light in the Nam Yoga. That's my practice. And yes, you need yoga. You have to move your tushy in order to be able to send love to others and yourself and your family members. So at every end of, we do this prayer. So if you need to contact me, so let me just say thank you for being here and for doing this for yourself, for reaching out to the AMFT in order to know that now we are creating new programs, new series in order to get us going. We need to change in a positive way, and in order to help the communities all over the nation and beyond. So my email is josianeapollon@gmail.com. I could be reached also on Instagram at Josiane Bonte. Yeah, flip-flop my name. So, and also on Facebook at The Integrative Wellness, and that's also my website, theintegrativewellness.com. So much blessings, infinite blessing, love and light to all of you. Thank you, and stay here for the next part of our time. Let me just get out of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apollon, for such a very energetic and very thoughtful and impactful presentation. We have some questions that everyone has sent in through the chat. So I thank everyone for submitting your questions. The first question is, what does soul care mean to you, and how does it align with compassionate love framework?
Okay, very good question. Thank you. So soul care is about your own spirit and your own care of how do you reach inside within to understand that you're not just a body. This body temple has to be respected, but it needs to be in agreement with your spirit. And if you're not, so the soul care is when you do something that's incongruent to your soul, and your heart is going to tell you, is going to vibrate and tell you the message, don't do that, and you're still doing it. So that's not self-care. That will be, you know, doing something destructive or negative that will impact you, because everything, you know, there's action and reactions. So every time that you do something and you're not taking care of yourself, the universe is going to send it back in your face in order for you to say, hey, I have to adjust and I need to make the right move. So compassionate love is more about how you see the other person that's before you, and you want to just, they're good, whether they're having a terrible time or a great time, you want them to succeed. So that's the difference between, you know, soul care is more personal, and then a compassionate love is about the other.
Wonderful. The next question: how do I create a compassionate love space for those not open to meditation? How were you able to integrate it in all of your sessions for centering?
Yes, that's a very good question. I didn't start it with it. I was ashamed also to say, I'm going to give you a meditation. But you know, sometimes you have to throw yourself down and see what, you know, who is open to it. And at the beginning, you might say, oh, this person might be and might not. And actually, even the most, I had, you know, people from all different social economic background, and when I do the meditation with people from Wall Street and the same, or from Florida City, who are homemakers, they love it. They actually feel, oh, I can relax finally. I'm going in within, and I know that Josiane is not doing anything until she has my intention. So, and it's so funny because I actually started doing that after listening to Oprah on one show, and she said when she had invited this white supremacist on her show, and they took over, and then she realized that was a big mistake because she never set her intention, and then from that moment on, she decided to set her intention. So in order for me to know exactly what the client wants, I ask them for intention, and I give them my intention for them also.
Great point. The next question: what are a few key things that you think have to be done to help repair the Black family dynamic? What are your thoughts concerning that?
Yes, so that's a very complex question because we are a multifaceted group, and I was born in France. My vision, my way of thinking is different from many people, right? Because not everybody is from the same place, even though we're Black. We're Black, and we're understanding what's happening to us at different levels and different perspectives. So I think the one thing that we can do is what I did today, is go back to the source, go back to knowing that we were actually, based on genetic studies that are now, there's thousands of them on the subject, they're showing that Africa is the cradle of civilizations, that everything came from Africa. So the religions, law, spirituality, every single thing. And when you know that, you feel better. That's why I start after doing the meditation, I ask, you know, what's the quality? Who do you look like? Even the little ones, they say, yeah, I look like my grandmother or whatever, my aunt or somebody. And then you go back. When for adults, when you do that, they get a sense of respect and honor that they don't come from nowhere. They have roots. And those roots are here, and you need to tap into it in order to let them come into your heart and to remember who you are and your light. So I tried to make it brief, but I hope that answered the question.
Yes, well said. The next question: I am curious about how to use appreciative inquiry when there is no serious mental health issues. Are there any contradictions for using appreciative inquiry?
Oh, not at all. The beauty about appreciative inquiry, so you're looking at what works. And it's a model that came from the business world, actually. So it's not a model that actually has a a label of disease. It's not the DSM. So it's a model that's really affirmative and is looking at each person, each organization, each family system to see what each person contributes and how and where do you want to go. Because it's a movement. We need to understand the flow of therapy is not to be stagnant and to repeat the same thing over and over about how your mother hurt you and how you feel sad about that and forever and ever. No, because we are energy, you know, whatever you focus on expands. So you need to really pick what you're focusing on. And that's why appreciative inquiry is great. So it's about cooperation, conversation, you know, and co-designing what you want. So that's yummy. Everybody wants to do that. You don't need to be sick to do that. On the contrary, I feel that my clients are not sick, you know, because I'm strategic also from Chloe Madane's teachings. So I feel that we have to reframe everything. So if they feel they're sick, I remember I was working in a school actually with a director on Brickell, and the director's daughter was psychotic, and I said, no, she's not. If you keep saying that, she will turn crazy just for you, okay? So what I did, I always pushed her, and she knew I was looking at her not as a normal person, and because she knew that, and I saw her soul, I saw her essence, she loved it, and she was able to create a lot of artistic paintings and do a gallery, an art show. I mean, it's just wonderful how the energy works.
Well said. I'm very appreciative. The last question for the day is, how can I hear more from you? Do you offer any trainings?
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I should, right? So the first training is this one. So this is a time of connection. You can actually reach to me. I do have, actually tomorrow, I have a women's support group, and that's for all, you know, you don't need to have a problem. This is for people who want to tap into this amazing divine feminine power. So, and I want to do that because right now what we're noticing, why is the movement of the earth is like making us stay at home. It's for something, is to go within. So I decided a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks, a month ago exactly, to oh, you know what, people might need something. So it's kind of a training without being a training, but I do a lot of coaching on the 6 human needs. You know, how do you meet your needs, and how do you understand your sacred sexuality in order to change from the genital sex into the feminine sex, because you want to elevate all of that. So in order to do that, we need to create kind of a movement, a love revolution, and that's what I offer on so it's twice a week. You can reach me at my email, or you can on Instagram. I post a lot on Instagram also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Josiane Bonte Apollon, for such a wonderful presentation. I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as well. For everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to RSVP for next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next installment with host Dr. Camille Lafleur, who will moderate a panel discussion about the importance of the Black family in American history and explore representation and diversity in the therapy room, relationships, media, and in conversation about mental health. So thank you so much for joining us today, and don't forget to RSVP for next Friday's event at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you so much to our guest presenter, Dr. Apollon.
Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. May sending a lot of blessing to all of you. Thank you, Jermaine. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.